SM13 here. Just taking for my dogs for a walk. So where are your dogs, you ask? I don't know. They're back there somewhere. Well, I remembered I gotta go pick something up too. So I just ditched them in the park, and I'm gonna continue on by myself. I was gonna show you guys some of the houses in my area. This is close to where I live, and the houses are all. These are what most average people. This is the type of houses that average people live in. Average to low income. That's a nice one there in the corner. But yeah, like this kind of a thing. Like if you just drive down the street, right? This is what you get. You get these 2-story, 3-story houses. And it's funny, if you look at a lot of these houses, you'll notice that, see, like these houses are green and all of a sudden changes to a different color. And that's because the top floor was added at a later date. It used to all just be two floors, and then they add on a third floor, which is actually illegal because you pay taxes on like the size. That's a low income job. In that garage there, you had a bunch of women, and they were just fiddling with something. I'm not sure what it was, but they're either like putting together fireworks, or they're stripping something to be recycled or something. But you'll find that a lot. Like when you're riding around in little poorish areas like this, you know, I don't like to use the word poor, but you know, they have very humble means. Low income. Okay, there's low income areas. You'll see that a lot in low income areas. You'll be riding along, and you'll see a garage door that's open, and then inside you'll see that you'll have a bunch of older women or older people, and they're all just doing something. My wife said she did a job like that when she was young, and she says you get paid. You know, you get paid like really next to nothing, but it's a job. It's in your area. And just then we had like a barber shop, because any one of these homes can just open up their front door and change it into a business of some sort. Okay, and here we have a school, and there's another school, and another barber shop, and a comic book shop for renting comic books. ABC, an English school. My English, there you go. A little English school right near my house, but it seems like they're closed down, or they're trying to rent it out. And that's a large property they own. This car right here is made by Nissan. I highly doubt you have it in America. It's called the Nissan March. You can buy it brand new for around $7,000 American for this car. So it's about the cheapest car you can own or buy brand new in Taiwan. So I'd love to own a house like that. They got their own big like front yard. It's all concrete, but if you wanted to, you could lay down some topsoil or something, right? This school interests me a little bit. I used to get looked at oddly because I'm white. I just, you know, I see people staring at me. Or it could be the fact that I'm moving my hands around talking to myself with a mirror, a camera in my face. Speaking of cameras in my face, what was that car doing? There was a floating car there. You see that? Okay, I guess they're doing an oil change. Oh no, jeez. I thought the car was like up on a jack. It's not. It just looks weird. Yeah. So again, if you notice, like the second floor is totally different from the first floor because it's added on at a later date. Here it's all 2 floors, but then over there you get 3. So again, added on at a later date. Up there, that's obviously added on. Here's tin. There's a few people where I live that added on a top, like another floor, and then I live in a community, and there's a set of community rules, and supposedly that some people are going to try to enforce them to tear down their top floors because they said it's a fire hazard. Like if your house is on fire, you could like jump to your neighbor's roof. From your roof, you could climb over to your neighbor's roof, but if they added on an extra floor, then that stops you from being able to do that. And here is a very wealthy person's house. I would guess that this house costs, oh shit, my math sucks, give me a sec, 30,000 times 10, so around $300,000 American for this. No, it'd be maybe even more than that, maybe around $400,000 for this, because it's a fairly long house. You know, it's not very wide, but that's the norm. It's tall, it's long. And then beside it, to the right here, they have their own garden or garage, like a fairly large land. And then this is the kind of community I live in right here. I live in like a little side by side, but and then we have a guard, and you have a set of community rules and stuff that you have to, that kind of sucks. And then I have, see their garage. See, that's their first floor there, and then this is their basement or garage, and then this is what happens here. They push a button, they go in here, and then there's a long line of garages that lead to each of these houses in the side-by-sides. This temple is very new. Just popped up in the last few years. I think that was a ghost, actually. I don't think he was actually alive. But yeah. I'm not sure why, I'm not sure why there's so many temples that pop up. Like, people build them, they save up their money, you know, they save up their money to build a temple. And you're probably thinking, well, they probably do it for spiritual reasons. I highly doubt it, because Chinese are the least spiritual people I've ever met. You know, like, there's God is not, you know, Americans are probably, well, I don't know enough about religion in different countries to comment on this, but I do know about Asians and Asian religion. And even though they go to temples and they pray and they do incense and they give money, you know, the thing with the Asian gods is there's a god for everything. And there's a god for gambling, there's a god for illegal activities, there's a god for prostitution, there's the god of prostitutes, and hookers go to pray to this god, you know what I mean? So they're not exactly a spiritual people in the sense of, you know, they can still do anything they want. They can steal, they can kill, they can prostitute themselves, they can, you know, they can do illegal things, because there's gods for those things as well. So on the one hand, you know, they still do go to pray, but it's not they're not exactly devout. You know what I mean? So in a very real sense, it's a godless country, because they don't have any rules to follow, and they don't fear anything, because they could, you know, they could pimp out their 12-year-old daughter to the neighbors to have sex with, and then they could go to the, you know, and go pray to the god of pimps, and it makes it all okay. So it's messed up.